What is going on, everyone? This is the Digital Cypha Podcast. I am Ebonics, and I'm here with the Deal. Don CJG is not here. He's in the chat. He's he's not well, but he's still here in the in the virtual space, chatting up in the chat session. So thank you for jumping in on the chat, Don CJG. Dio, what is up? How you doing today?
Good morning, doing well. Yeah, we're missing Don. He's sick. His throat's not feeling good, but he's here in the chat. Probably make fun of us a little bit.
Oh well, it's not the same without the brother across the pond. So definitely, if you got questions, Don CJG, feel free to throw them in the chat, and then we'll definitely answer what we can. It's been a crazy week. Personally, as well as in the gaming space. The PlayStation Showcase happened, I believe it was on Thursday, on the 9th. So a lot of things were shown. So we're going to get into that. But before we do that, was there anything that popped out? Like, did you guys, did you play anything, that was, that on the Xbox or on a PC, took time away while you waited for the showcase to appear?
On the Xbox, on Game Pass, I know that I was playing not a lot of stuff because I was busy also with work this week. But what was some of the new ones that I know I did check out? Of course, I was playing a little Psychonauts 2.
Yeah.
I tried out Crown Trick. I don't know if you tried that out yet.
Oh, no, I haven't tried that. Let me write that down. Crown Trick.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's kind of like turn-based but action at the same time.
Okay. Interesting.
It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool art style and a pretty cool combat mechanic that's pretty unique. I did try also Nuclear Throne. It kind of reminded me of like those old school like bullet hell games, like those the shooters where like everything's trying to kill you at the same time while you're trying to kill everything around you.
Yeah, okay.
So, kind of cool, but I mean, not as cool as Crown Trick. I didn't try the Artful Escape yet.
Okay.
Or Breath Edge. I know those two came out this week also.
Yeah. The only thing I've been jumping into was now it left my mind. It's comparable to Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
Now I'm having a problem. So I think you've played this one. It started on the Switch and then it came over to Game Pass.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Wow.
Exactly. That's how I feel.
Octo Traveler, right?
Say it again.
Octo Traveler?
Yes. All right. I got the dancer. So, and cool. It's been very cool, with the first couple of people, but man, that dancer storyline, that was gritty.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, that she, I'm not gonna, let's just say, it took a little, it went slightly dark, from a, I wouldn't say mental, who else would have, what other game? Like, imagine you playing like Grand Theft Auto, right? Everybody's cool, everybody's shooting each other, whatever. But then you go and do this mission, and then there's this lady, right, who's like captive, and the person that she answers to, she calls master, right? Beats her up, right?
Yeah.
And she's forced to dance and all this other stuff. Like that's the story, and then she finally breaks free, to try to do some form of revenge. So I'm not trying to say the whole story. I mean, but it's, I was in that story, like literally.
Okay, you were immersed, compelled.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, what's going to happen at the end? Do I fight the person that I want to kill, or do I fight somebody else? And when I saw the boss, it's like, it's this guy. What? And then so they, her story is prolonged because she ends up, fighting, the person she didn't expect to see, pretty much. lost people. I'm done. It's cool. It's cool. So when I saw that, I was like, yeah. A little bit of Halo. I mean, a little bit of Destiny, not Halo. But
Okay.
outside of that, been watching Hunter x Hunter, getting consumed into that as well. First time watching it, and I'm glad that I took the time. I think I'm on season 5, episode 36. I have one more season left. Yeah, bro. I started like 2 weeks ago.
I know Don. If I remember correctly, he cleared Hades for the first time, and I see in the chat he said he'd been playing some Psychonauts too. Also, he's loving it.
Yeah, bro, I started Psychonauts as well. Makes me want to go back and play
nice.
1. Yeah, because it's a direct sequel to 1. Like a couple weeks after 1, part 2 is then the sequel. So yeah, that's what's up.
I got pretty far in Psychonauts 2 also, and I felt the same. I'm like, you know what? Let me go play part 1 again, because it's really enjoyable. Honestly.
Right. And the thing about it too is I'm not even sure which part, like what character in part 2 is actually was a part of part 1. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
So did somebody escalate or become a better Psychonaut than you before you got to the headquarters? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So anyways, but everybody's here to see what our thoughts are about the PlayStation Showcase. So I'm gonna start off. I even put it in here. I'ma just say, right? When they started off the show and they show you the city, I was like, okay. This is gonna be a competitor to Perfect Dark, right? Because I'm seeing the city, it was looking all clean and quote unquote reflections and God rays, whatever, I don't know. And I was like, okay. And then I started seeing people running and 2 guys playing chess, and they start showing different aspects of their franchise, like Uncharted and Horizon Zero Dawn. And I think they also showed Gran Turismo in there in the opening, and I was like, man, this is just an opening act, man. Like, Sony, what's going on? Like, I thought it's actually a game, but it was the opening act that led to Jim Ryan. So they got me there. I mean, let's be honest, man. We need the competition. I mean, I'm not saying. I mean, Xbox is still behind PlayStation, but they are in a space where they also have leverage over PlayStation. So, to me, I was like, I'm looking at PlayStation like, okay, PlayStation, you need to sell to me something. So, do something that you did in the PS2 time frame, PS1 and PS2, something that separated you from Sega and Nintendo, that made you the need to have console, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, man. What about you, Dio? What you got?
I know it caught my interest right in the back, like, because as soon as I saw Darth Revan in that Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake. As of right now, that's the only 2 platforms I see it on, but that was exciting. I know they didn't show any gameplay, they didn't even show like movie scenes or nothing, but I was satisfied just knowing that it's in the works.
Exactly, and
peace is a lie.
Caught me too. And when I saw that, and I saw Knights of the Old Republic, I was like, I started playing that game, I never finished it, and then now there's a remake. I was like, oh my god.
They promised power.
It did not say exclusive. Right?
Now they wield it. We face the greatest Sith in generations. They must be stopped.
PC day one also.
Nice. Yes. All right. Yo, I don't know about you, dude, but what?
Peace is a lie.
I'm gonna just go ahead.
그날 이후 지성의 도시들은 모두 예비처럼 폐허가 됐어. 잘난 신분들은 우주로 달아나고 나가는 놈들은 이곳에 버려졌지.
마더스피어의 구원을 아직 기다리고 있는 거야.
이브 조심해. 전방에서 뭔가가 곧 무너지겠어.
뭐 살살 가도 그랬지.
뭐야? 여기야.
Yeah. There's only 5 guys on the team right now.
이브, 저건 알파 네이티브야.
You know what I mean? That is very important. So the it's in the air right now. They already put money into that. Hopefully it goes. It caught my eye. Okay.
Background we have going on right now.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Just a bit more.
I did not know the audio was playing. Whoops. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I hope we don't get copy strike, right?
No. Well, our voices were intermingled into the audio, so it is what it is. If it happens, it happens. But thank you for catching on to that. How's the audio over there, man? Is it better? And it seems.
I don't hear the trailer music at all anymore now. So.
Okay, it's probably gonna come back in a little bit, but yeah, man. Open world. You know what? When I think of the open world, it also reminds me of what is that one game for 360? The guy, he's released from like an air prison in a ship, and he has like a bow, not a bow, like a I want to say Donatello stick, right? The bow, the staff. That's what he uses. Yeah. Gosh, what isn't it? It's not Uncharted. Uncharted is a PlayStation exclusive, but it was Enchained in ENCH something, and there was a girl in the ship that was trying to do things too, and they end up meeting together. Gosh, I wish I. So what happened is like in that game is like the levels are pretty much linear, and I have a feeling like this game is gonna have this linear feel to it. It doesn't. Yeah. It shows something open world, but the open world still has one path to go through. You know, so I have a feeling it's gonna be that way as well. Yeah.
Yeah. At that point, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that type of game, right?
Yeah.
It's that you have to make sure that the story is very strong. Then.
Yeah.
At that point.
Okay. It does
look really cool.
Okay. Anything else spoke out to you, dude?
I mean, of course, Wolverine spoke out to everybody, right?
Oh
I mean,
gosh, Wolverine.
I knew. Like, this is Wolverine. I know
Yeah.
Wolverine. Show me the claws, baby.
You know, honestly, I'm a little bit kind of tired of Marvel, to be honest, dude. Like, there's so much Marvel. I'm like, my brain can't take another Marvel show, you know.
Yeah.
But Insomniac is doing this one, and I'm wondering how they're gonna treat it, because of course this is different than Spider-Man, right? And the last Wolverine game I remember playing was on Sega Genesis, I believe. Like,
Really?
like it wasn't really like, I'm not talking like
I know what you're talking about.
Marvel versus Capcom. I'm talking like a literal. I don't know if it was third person or side scroller, but I remember it was one of those things where I think he gets enraged and then he just goes crazy on you for a little second or something. But
yeah, I know what you're talking about, because I had that one on the Genesis, but I remember like it wasn't a good one, but I remember one in the Xbox days, the PlayStation 2, like Wii days, like where it was based on the movie, right?
Was it?
One.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, there was one.
What? Wait, what was it called?
I think it was like Wolverine's Revenge or something like that, or like X-Men Origin Wolverine, something to that effect. I mean, those might be two different games. I'm not sure. I just remember them both, or at least one of them having the movie Wolverine on the cover of it.
Yeah.
And I remember them not being all that great. I mean, they were okay, but I mean, the Genesis, when you're talking about it, I definitely had a lot more fun with that. But that might be like, you know, nostalgia talking.
There was an X-Men one that had Wolverine on the cover. That was a 360 one. But there was X-Men Origins, Wolverine Uncaged.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not seeing another one here. That's interesting. Yeah, man.
Well, I know the game you're talking about. It was an X-Men game. Wolverine was in it. Nightcrawler was in it. Gambit was in it.
Yeah.
It was awesome. That was a fun game.
Yeah, it was. It was good though. It was good.
Yeah.
It was real good. Wow. So of course, the one that I definitely enjoyed watching, you know, even as an Xbox centric guy.
I don't want to fight anymore. I just want to.
God of War. I knew you were gonna say that. Yep.
Now, to me, God of War, I never played any of the previous God of Wars prior to the one for the PS4. Like the side scrolling one, it had different perspectives, but I think it was kind of like in the PS2 genre. Yep. Like this one, I played the first one, so seeing this, everything, I think it just feels like a continuation. It doesn't feel like, you know, when you play a game last like 2 years ago and then another game comes out and it just looks even better than the first one. Like, this one doesn't come to me like that. It doesn't resonate like that to me. It feels like a continuation of the story, which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It just solidifies the franchise and the new direction that they chose. I mean, when you saw this film, what came to your mind, bro?
So I did play a lot of the old ones on the PlayStation 2 and PS3 and the PSP, from what I remember. And I enjoyed those games. It's kind of like, for people who haven't played it, and to me, if you haven't played God of War, I'm probably sure you haven't played this game either, is Dante's Inferno, right?
Okay.
Very similar, you know, it's that hack and slash, you upgrade your characters, not true RPG, but RPG elements to it, linear, you know, and this looked cool. To me, it's still not something to buy a PS5 for me personally.
No, it's not.
But it looks really cool. Like it definitely had me going like, oh wow, there's centaurs. I was like, oh wow, look at this monster. Like it surprised me. I think that they have added a lot more than I expected them to add. I honestly don't remember the last one, because first of all, I didn't play it, but also even like the trailer, I wasn't like really hyped about it. But this actually looked pretty cool. If I had a PS5, I would pick it up, but I wouldn't go out and buy a PS5 for it. This was pretty cool though. When Tier like stood up, I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, that he's huge. Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, I mean, all right. So I played the first one and I beat the first one. I mean, I'm talking about for the PlayStation 4, right? You know, I enjoyed it completely. It was a good experience. Now, did I buy a PS4 for God of War? I did not. I bought the PS4 for Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't really into like PC MMOs at that time. So, and then I ended up picking up God of War. So when I say that it's not really a console seller for me, it's one of those games where I will play it and then that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I haven't returned to even finish off the other parts yet. You know what I mean? So, but it is a very good game. And if you have a PlayStation 5, definitely pick that up. You know, you won't be disappointed.
For sure.
Yeah, it's just not a $4.99, $5.99 buy with, you know, plus $70. Right, because
like you're wrong. It's gonna be $69.99.
Nah,
to start it off.
Nah,
it will be.
Nah,
That's
what?
their price tag.
Really?
Yeah.
To start off, 69. So why is it 69? Okay. Why is it? Well, it's $70. Yeah, it's $70. Yeah. I was not gonna say $60. No, sir. I mean, you're getting a next gen experience.
Yeah.
You know, so that'll end up being, you know, $570 for the game and for the console, unless they have a package themed console, right? So
That's pretty well.
yeah.
But even those package bundles are not like how they used to be, right? Like before in the old days, like the package bundles kind of felt like you were getting like a price mark off, right? Like you were getting it for a bit cheaper, where it doesn't really feel like that anymore. It kind of feels like you're buying it for a bigger price because it's prettier, right? It has like the design on the console itself and the controller or whatever, and I don't know, it's not the same what bundles used to be.
I mean, bundles, but they validated the price. If it was expensive, you got something that was unique, like a figurine. You know, one of the strategy guides and things of that nature, you know. So to have just a console and a game, call it a bundle, and then add some paint on top of it. Like even the Xbox themed console doesn't look that great to me for Halo, right? Because I'm not looking at the art, right? I'm looking like, is that thing stitched in? You know, is the plastic stitched in? Can I feel the grooves on my hands, right?
Yeah. Because
if that's the case, I'll buy it and I put it on I put it somewhere where it becomes vintage to me. Like it has like I bought the Halo Reach the legendary edition that came with the thing, right? That came with the whole crew on the Warhawk, you know, the action figure, right? That's what I'm looking for, you know. So yeah, man, like if they did that, you know, they gotta step that up. both sides of the fence. Yeah.
I mean, I remember getting the 360. I had my regular 360, but of course I ended up buying the special edition Gears of War one that was all red and black and stuff. And that was a nice console. I mean, the main reason I got it because one of my 360s had the Ring of Death. I was like, all right, if I'm gonna get a new one, I'm gonna get a cool one. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what they come up with this. Overall, it looks really cool. It looks really awesome. But it's not one of those things to buy the console for. It's not like how you said. It's not gonna keep you playing for hours and hours. This is a cinematic experience. It's like, you know, watching a movie, and if it ends up being your favorite movie or your favorite game, you'll come back to it every once in a while. But you got to be kind of realistic. I mean, a lot of these kind of games, you play it once and you're done, kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, nothing against God of War. Is just you know, what would make sense is if Kratos or his son were playable by someone else, couch co-op or something like that. That could extend the actual experience, for a longer term. But being that it's one person and the other person and the kid is kind of like your companion, right? He fights on his own based on how you spec him, because you can spec the kid as well. You know what I'm saying? So you give him armor, you give him a weapon, you give him traits, buffs and all that kind of stuff. And then he goes off on his own and mechanically handles enemies based on what he has on. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it's intelligent from that perspective, and it's pretty cool. But yeah, that's for me. I looked at multiplayer from a co-op to a 4+ experience. That's to keep me engaged. So definitely God of War looking good. God of War definitely looking good.
If you notice one thing in the end of this trailer, there's like this little girl, right?
Yeah.
Who like just randomly is in the end of it. I mean, I haven't played the first one, so I don't know if she's just.
Nobody knows who she is. Nobody knows who she is. Yeah.
I'm wondering, and I know this is not it. Are we gonna see date simulator in God of War for the little boy, huh?
Okay.
It's like, boyfriend dungeon.
Okay.
Add a little bit of that in there.
Okay, bro. Let's move on. Let's move on. The Don CJG says, outside of the game audio sounding too loud, the game looks very great, but I'm not willing to buy a whole new console for it. Yeah. The price of the game too. Oof. Yeah, $70. It is what it is, but it is our understanding through countless YouTube videos and Twitter tweets and PlayStation guys, they see $70 and they don't care about that price. We're talking fanboys here. We're not talking about the common gamer goes to work, come home, play a little good game, spend time with the family. We're talking about people who play their system day in, day out, like they ain't got no job. You know what I mean? Like they look at $70 like it's well worth it because of what Sony provides. And we are seeing that they put a lot of work into the cinematics, you know what I'm saying, into the mechanics as well. Like those things you see in here in these things are not easy to do, the kill cams and all that stuff, whatever. So they're going the extra step just to satisfy their fan base, so they put that money up front. Whereas with Game Pass is kind of like, hey, we got the what is it, MLB, we got MLB for you, we got a game from Switch, we got some PC games on the Xbox and on PC. And see, I think that's where Xbox is they're trying to solidify a fan base for that subscription, whereas Sony has the fan base, they just need to solidify the subscription part. So yeah. It's two sides of a coin at this point. Let's see. Well, I jumped onto God of War. What you got, Dio? What's your next one?
As weird as this sounds, Spider-Man 2 was actually pretty interesting. In the respect of that, I don't know if you want to put that trailer in the background too.
It's there.
Okay. I don't know if I'm thinking but they kept showing.
For as long as I can remember, I have looked for an equal. One who could push me. One who could surprise me. One who could even beat me. Yet all I found is disappointment.
I know there's balancing and everything like that. I think the music might be a little too loud for this one as well.
You know what the thing about it is, and I apologize, is I was putting these trailers into OBS and it just defaulted to like 0 dB on everything. So as we go through the trailers, I just gotta slow it down. You know what I'm saying? So, my bad. Don CJG. Go ahead.
So not only did like the potential co-op, I mean, which you already shot down, but the fact that there's Venom in the end. I mean, I'm a sucker for Venom. I love Venom. He's always been my favorite. I got into Spider-Man because of Spider-Man, obviously, but once I saw Venom, I mean, that was it. I didn't care about Spider-Man anymore as a kid. So see Venom in this, I was like, he'll probably be a villain, but if they actually give you the chance to like use him and have him be as a playable character, I don't know, that might be what gets me to buy a PS5. No, and that's just a personal thing.
And I get it, you know what I'm saying? Like, when Spider-Man came out with Insomniac being the developers, that was like a hard blow for the Xbox community who knew what they're capable of through Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So understanding the talent behind that, I was tempted to get a PlayStation 4 Spider-Man, but I held off. I was like, nah. Even so, I still have a PlayStation 4. I've never played Spider-Man.
Me too.
So it's kind of like, to see this, you know, it would be kind of cool if they bundled 1 and 2 together. You know what I'm saying? That would be, now that brings the question. Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon Forbidden West is the last game, or as of when they last spoke recently, the upgrade from PS4 to PS5 is free, I think, up until a certain point, but it's not going to be that way anymore, right? Like, if they do the bundle where you can play like Spider-Man 1 on the first Spider-Man that we're looking at, the first part on a PS5, and there's upgraded features, I would not be surprised if they like, okay, both games cost $140 with a discount of blah. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not gonna do any more. They're not gonna do any more $60 games anymore. They've announced that, so that's gonna be something I'm gonna be interested. If it comes with both, I probably would get it. And it has to be a bundle with a PS5. Done. Like, I can't do like, oh, I want to play this game, but then when I play part 2, it references part 1. Now I gotta go buy part 1 and upgrade to a $70 game. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like the pain point for being someone who haven't purchased anything but what I like to play, and then now following a trend or following my emotions toward games that I feel like it's gonna be worth buying, part 2, and then having to okay, if I buy part 1, I have to pay $70 because that's the PS5 version, not the PS4 version. I can still buy the $60 version, but it won't be as clean as the part 2. So what do I want to do? You know, when consumers have to think that hard, it becomes a problem, in my opinion. But yeah, Spider-Man 2, I mean, this is just a tease. This game is not coming out until 2023, I think. I don't think it's even coming out next year.
Yeah.
So I know something that you definitely would be interested in, Dio.
Okay.
Hold on, I gotta get the volume ready. Hold on.
I'm gonna laugh if it's something I'm not interested in.
hey, I tried.
I know. I want to see if you're gonna say what I think it is.
I is playing right now.
Actually, no. I am actually interested in Ghostwire. That looks pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, you already know. Like, for me, this is not my cup of tea, right? It's like, yeah. I sleep on these things. Like, yo, I sweat dreams, like nightmares with these type of stuff, so I can't play these games. But Dio, on the other hand, he would stream this and be like, yo, he's cutting them in half, yo, that is so cool. Like, I mean, he's on a different level. So yeah, the game looks cool. They showed a little bit before. It wasn't as dramatic as it is right now in the film, but I find it very cool, which you as the main character, you're able to do. My question is, are you the only person alive at this point? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, right. Like I also had similar vibes. Like I was trying to figure out like what kind of direction they're going with the story, because it almost seems like it's either like a simulation or you're trying to save mankind, right? But it's like you're like in a test or something. Like it's really hard to figure out where they're going with it. But power wise and all that stuff, it looks cool. I don't know if people are gonna not like what I have to say about this, but I kind of almost wish they went with a more anime type art style as opposed to like a realism, because I don't feel like the realism they're going for looks that good.
So are you talking about like the other game that came out by Bandai Namco, something around that area?
Something like that would be really good to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in my opinion, I think first of all, it would be easier to do these fantastical things, right, and not have to worry about it looking awkward. But it's just also like it doesn't feel like, I'm not saying that the graphics are ugly by any means, but I just don't think that they're as realistic as they should look.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what they're going for. Like it's not realistic enough where you have me immersed. I can see that there's problems with whatever engine they're using where it kind of takes me out. I'd rather if they're going in this direction use something more like stylized.
Got you.
Know what I mean?
Got you. Something around the lines of
As of Arise.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. I mean, and they can still do it dark and have it look like this, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I have a feeling a lot of people wouldn't like to hear that. They're like, nah, it doesn't need to do that. Like, you know, the people who don't like anime, but it's not about anime or nothing like that. It's just,
Yeah.
I
You see the guy
kind of express more, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, the enemy in the game. I don't mean by enemy the guys, the people who are wearing the mask, right? They don't bother me, right? The problem that bothers me is the potential of having like all these Japanese lore of scary people. You know what I'm saying? Like, wasn't there one? Like, I don't know if it was called, the movie was called The Omen, or like The Ring, or I think there's one where there's like a girl who's like, she's in the bathroom and she just grabs people or something like that. Like there's so many different like
There's so many of them.
Yeah, and I'm like, are all these they're gonna be in the game? Like, cause I don't want to have to experience, you know, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I know the Nine-Tailed Fox that, you know, for Naruto is like, you know, the light version, but there's actually like a Japanese god or something of that nature that consumes people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And to see that in the game from a wholly different perspective, that is like a horror type vibe. My brain and my heart can't take that, bro. No. I'll look at Naruto differently. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't really, because, you know, I've already solidified in my mind that, you know, this is acceptable. You know, anything more than that is gonna be like, yeah, I changed my mind now. So, but I think the direction, as far as probably the story, again, the game is not out yet, but because it's coming out of a Japanese studio, you know, they're very soundless with what they're creating. You know, they understand the lore of what they're doing here. I just feel like, you know, they're confident in what they're doing. And, you know, to each their own. For you, it might, you know, the realism might not click, but I think if, you know, once the game comes out and you see how the game plays mechanically, it might make sense. Who knows? But yeah, I figure you would like that.
Sure.
The game that surprised me outside of Knights of the Old Republic and Project Eve was Forspoken.
That's the one I thought you were gonna say.
Forspoken, I thought Forspoken was just a simulator, to be honest.
I'll let you in on a secret, but I'm a pretty big deal.
Like a simulator where you just jumping around and zooming and flashing and
We are getting out
and
of
stuff
the
like
city,
that.
Homer. I promise we'll go somewhere that loves cats.
And to
more fights.
It really it perks my ears up a little bit. The reason
Bright
being
skies.
is because, you know, powers and magic kind of, you know, I kind of like, you know what I'm saying? And
The actual
this reminds me of
fuck.
if Infamous and Harry Potter, you know, if the devs were smashed together, I think this would be it. You know what I'm saying? Because you have
Wait, stop!
These type of destruction type, you know, moves and special, you know, abilities, and then you have, you know, Harry Potter, who, you know, wizards and all this kind
Where on
of
earth
stuff.
is
So in
this?
this game, I believe you're like
Who's there?
Technically not Earth. Well, not you would call Earth anyway.
I swear to God, asshole,
Which is
show
pretty
yourself.
Show myself. I've shown.
Where
The
are
also
you?
good thing too
Right
is that it's going to be on
here,
PC
at
and
the
not
end of
just
your
on PlayStation.
arm.
So that's also
Oh, hello.
a good
Yes.
thing. Yeah, I forgot. My bad. The audio. You know what? I gotta work it.
Don't worry, I forgot about it too, actually.
The ring, yeah. And the good old samurai climbing through the. Yeah, bro. Like, let's not get into that. You know, I only knew about him when what's the name of the movie? With the Wayans brothers and their spinoff.
Oh, scary movie.
Yeah, like, yo, if I wanted to know what these movies were talking about, I'll watch the spin-off or something stupid like that. But yeah, Forspoken looks pretty cool to me. I would definitely play it. It's too soon for me to consider buying a PlayStation for it because it's coming for PC. But it gives you okay. I haven't seen that movie either yet. Shang-Chi. So I gotta take a look into that. But
the rings that she's wearing on her arm. That's why. He's
oh really? Okay.
But instead of her wearing like 10 on each side, it's like she has all 20 of them on one arm.
Yeah, that arm is powerful. That's the only arm she can talk to.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely very pretty. I
Mm-hmm.
still find it a little too bland still.
It's a PlayStation look. It's a PlayStation look, bro.
It's still a huge jump from like the earlier trailers, right? Like those were just completely, like how you said, like almost like simulators, right? Like
Right.
Like when they were showing those, like why would you even show these? Like these are not showing anything. This definitely is a big step up, but to tell you the truth, I was more interested when it was, and I like fantasy stuff a lot. I love fantasy. I like sci-fi too, but there's something about fantasy that always draws me, and I'm like a sucker for. But for whatever reason, I was more interested in the story when she was in the real world as opposed to getting just sucked into this imaginary world.
Yeah, her character switched drastically.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like a she was going through this turmoil of living in today's life, and then now she's in a whole different area, and it just felt like I'm badass now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I guess depending on how much they flesh out the fantasy world, like if they put like whatever kind of beings in there and seeing how they interact with her, maybe that'll have me more interested. But because right now all we see is her interacting with bad guys. Maybe when I see like some civilians just farming and all that kind of stuff, I'll be like, oh, that's just cool.
So you want to see the NPCs being overwhelmed by enemies as well?
Yeah, I just want to see like like because it almost feels like it's like a dead world, right? Almost.
Yeah.
And she's just fighting. Like, I guess I want there to be stakes. Like, why is she fighting these bad guys besides the fact that she doesn't know where she is, and she has these rings on her, and she has powers?
Right.
Like, is she trying to save everybody? Is she?
It's almost like she has these missions that she has to do based on who she's aligned with. You know what I'm saying? But it's like she's the only one that can do it. You know what I mean? Everybody's afraid of this one lady, and they're looking up to her. So yeah, I see what you're saying. I hope even within the open world, because the open world does look bland, so I'm wondering if the open world is more of like traversal to your next stopping point. You know what I mean? Like the area, like you get from one area to the next area, but there's nothing really going on until you get there, and when you get there, then the story continues, the fighting continues, the immersion continues. But in between that time is you running and experiencing her powers in like a sandbox. Now that's different. That's interesting. That is definitely interesting. That's what I'm thinking. As far as me looking at the trailer, that's what I get from it. Now,
Yeah, overall, really pretty.
yeah, it looks very pretty. What'd you think about the Alan Wake remake?
I've honestly never played the first one,
Uh-huh.
so I definitely had to play the first one. Seeing the second one, I guess it was hard for me to be super excited because I didn't play the first one. I looked at it like, okay, cool, there's a remake. I'll try to play the original since it's on Game Pass anyway.
Yeah.
And if I like that, then I'll play the beefy remaster and see how I like that. I found it interesting that that's coming to pretty much to all platforms, as opposed to being Xbox exclusive. But
See, that's the one thing that I was talking about with a homie of mine during the week was during the 360 time frame. Of course, Phil Spencer wasn't the guy, right, running things then. How many games published by Xbox but not really, owned by Xbox? You know what I'm saying? They just got publisher rights, but they didn't get the other rights where they can say, hey, we can choose whatever studio can work on the sequel or remake or whatever, you know what I mean? And being that this is Epic and Remedy, instead of you're not seeing like Microsoft Game Studios or anything like that, kind of paints that picture.
yeah,
So yeah, man. Okay, so you haven't played Alan Wake, but
I have not.
what about the Blood Hunt?
Blood Hunt. I'm trying to remember. Man, like that. I'm drawing a. Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I guess I'm also kind of biased in this because Blood Hunt is pretty much the battle royale of the new Vampire the Masquerade game that was supposed to come out,
Okay.
and that got delayed, I guess, because of this.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I'd rather have, and this is weird because like usually I like things having some multiplayer added to them.
Right.
I'd rather have that one player experience. I don't care about another battle royale. It looks cool. It looks interesting. I've seen other people playing the betas and alphas of it,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like it's gonna be a good time. But depending on how much they charge for this, I know this is gonna be cross-platform as well. I don't know. I at least I know it's definitely gonna be on the PC and the PlayStation. I don't know if it's gonna be on the Xbox or not, but we had to really wait and see. I mean, I'm not crazy about battle royales. I know I play Fortnite, but I really just play Fortnite to play with my kids. I don't really play because I enjoy it, to tell you the truth. But
Gotcha.
yeah, not super excited about it, honestly.
Okay. They announced the Uncharted.
Yeah.
And it's coming to PC.
Yep.
Would you try that game on PC?
Nope.
Why
I
not?
don't care about games like that. I never liked Tomb Raider. Like,
Okay.
I
okay.
know it's not exactly. I know it's definitely better than Tomb Raider on PlayStation 1 and on the Dreamcast. But like, I have such a disdain for Tomb Raider games just because of how much I hated the original ones. It's just not my thing. I know like it's gonna be a cool story and all that stuff, but for me it's kind of a thing where it's like if I buy this, it's me buying a movie.
Right. And that's how I look at
and
it too, because you have
Yeah.
to do this in a way, get the experience, get the lore of what's happening so far, and then almost as though you're forced into another linear path because this and that happened, this person died, whatever going on, which is fine. You're living a story of Nathan Drake. I tried. I think I got all three on the PlayStation 4.
Oh, okay.
I tried one. I tried the last one actually, and I didn't pass the first stage.
Oh wow.
It's not that it wasn't good. It's just, you know, when you, I'm sorry.
You weren't invested in the time, like in the story. So you start. I think maybe if you started from the beginning, maybe it would have been different.
It probably would have been different. I just wanted to see graphically where things were, and it kind of reminded me of just, you know, like the shoot and cover, but then with a more involved storyline. Like Gears of War has a strong cover shooting experience, but it's just back to back. You know, this one is slowed down, and you have to really think about how you would engage with the enemy, but not really. You're still being slightly overwhelmed, but not to the point where you're kind of like, dang, you know what I'm saying? And then there's like the chase, and you know, people shooting at you from different perspectives. Sometimes it's just you, other times it's you and the person who's along the ride, you know. And it's single player, you know, so it's just all those things coming together. And then, you know, my homies on Call of Duty or Halo or Destiny, or, you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like, okay, let's go. Or Final Fantasy 14 during the time, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, oh, okay, you gotta drop this. And I just never went back, you know, because it have, you know, the multiplayer experiences caught my attention more, you know. So I find that it's great that it's coming to the to PC and it's being remastered. That is great. I know a lot of PlayStation fans who's going to be hyped for that, definitely. Because if it's going to be remastered for PC, that means it's going to be remastered for PlayStation 5 as well. So that's going to be a definite soak up for real. Another thing that I found very interesting, you know, is Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo is
It looks clean, man.
It does. You know, it looks clean. You know, I feel like I'm about to hit the bias vibe right now. You know, I have to see it. I have to like go to GameStop or Best Buy and see Gran Turismo on a 4K TV, because Horizon, you know, Forza Horizon and Forza Motorsport, bro, they just keep up in the ante. The only thing I think that Gran Turismo will have over Forza Motorsport is the career mode. From what I've heard, is that the career mode is not like, it's more like, you know, you're going through an actual, you know, story or stage wise. You know what I'm saying? So you may not get the animation, but you're having somewhat of a story where you're competing with other people. You know, if that's the case, then mad kudos, because Forza doesn't even have that. In Forza Horizon, I think you had it maybe in 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But in 3, 4, and 5, it was just you against the players.
It's funny you said that, right? Because I kind of noticed that too, right? Like they said that they had a story, and it made me really think, like, is there like really that big a difference between like Xbox players and PlayStation players, where PlayStation players really like this storytelling, like linear gameplay, where I was thinking about like Xbox games, like, you know, especially like exclusives, right? Like you have Flight Simulator, open world, do whatever you want.
Right.
Forza Horizon, open world, do whatever you want. Minecraft, open world, do whatever you want.
Roblox.
And I'm like, you know, like there's that trend, you know, and I'm like, wow, is it really that much of a difference between the players and their mindsets on these two different platforms? And I was definitely noticing that, asking myself that when I was watching the Gran Turismo, because it looks really pretty, it looks really cool, but I found myself, like, I don't really care about car games in general, but I did find myself saying, well, if I wanted to play something, I'd rather play Forza Horizon, because then at least I can drive around and just mess around. That's what I care about doing if I was to play
Yeah.
a racing game.
Yeah.
Not really sticking to the course.
And I think that's the thing too, because I believe they're trying to do something a little bit more open. There was a map that had like, special areas that you can visit, I guess, or I don't know if you can actually drive there. But I think the game is still like Forza Motorsport, is course driven. You know what I mean? You finish this course, you get graded, and then you move on to the next course. You have to be the top 3, whatever. So it's pretty cool. Forza Motorsport and Gran Turismo, they have like the similar fan base, and that's basically racing simulators, or I would say things that really connect to how real cars drive, not like arcadey style, right? Forza Horizon, on the other hand, I think they connect with the simulation and open world in a different way. Like, I can't tell the difference if it's arcade or not, dude. Like, I mean, I just want to drive around today. Put that slider down to like noob, right? And then basically the car stops for you. If you're going too fast, it slows down and stuff like that. And that's perfect for my girls, like between 5 and 7. They're just driving around, not knowing what to do. You know what I'm saying? So, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I think
was saying that he found the trailer pretty boring, and he said that after playing Horizon and Motorsport, the bar is set too high.
The bar is set high for. You know what? We haven't seen anything regarding Forza Motorsport yet, right? I did not like the career mode for Forza Motorsport. I just do it because it's structured. You know what I mean? Like, it's there. You gotta do this flag, you gotta go to that flag. It has like 5 races. When you finish that, you've completed everything. I did that, but what I would have liked, and I think that's what Gran Turismo may be doing, is where you have a generic character creator, and that person goes through a story with people, with allies and with rivals, and now things starts to make sense, right? As from a person who doesn't play simulator games getting into a simulator game, now they want to invest into understanding how to drive a car with a controller, versus an actual rig, you know what I'm saying? Or a wheel, if you will. So I think that's the only thing that Gran Turismo may have over the Forza Motorsport, is an actual career mode where you have a rival that speaks back to you. If it doesn't have that, then it is what it is. But Horizon, I was gonna say Horizon Forbidden West. Forza Horizon definitely looks better. I think they push the envelope again, and we just got to see what Gran Turismo 7 has to offer. Doesn't have a release date, so it could be next year, it could be the year after. I believe Sony is in the mindset of waiting to see what everybody does and then do better, just to look better. So I think they need to stop doing that and just put their money where their mouth is and innovate from a gaming perspective. Like, yes, they have the studios, right? They have Santa Monica, they have Insomniac, and those studios are innovating. I don't see Sony innovating, as I don't see PlayStation as by itself innovating. They're just completely relying on the studios to be the innovators. Whereas with the Xbox is giving the studios money to innovate, but then within themselves, they're bringing the community to the studios. And I think that's the main difference, is like, this is weird. I'm trying not to say what I was gonna say. That's a bad example. Oh gosh, that's a bad example. Think of like, I'm not sure think of someone who's a social media manager, right? And Dio, you're the business. You hire me to bring people to you, right? So while I am promoting you and bringing people to you, I'm also bringing incentives with my platform, so people see like, oh, this social media management platform is great because it does this to the community. And Dio, who has a studio, is bringing this game, and this game is going to be a part of this platform. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's win-win situation. When it comes to the PlayStation, I don't feel that. It's just like, we're PlayStation. This is the game. We know it's awesome. Buy it. And it's for PS5. That's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think what the Xbox community is looking for is for PlayStation to get off the high horse and actually do something. That's, we know Insomniac is good at what they do, and we would love to play their games. We know that Santa Monica is good at what they do, and we would love to play their games. But PlayStation as a brand in of itself, I need to see more out of their brand, because I've been what is it called? I've had issues with PlayStation, how they handle money, how they handle, the community, and if my account has been hacked and this and that. Like, their whole economy on like business matters does not vibe well, and that's why I'm not heavily invested into them. But the games, yep, then they're good. They're all right. This game, is it Ticha? It's interesting. I thought it was just gonna be another, walk around, make plants, feed, harvest stuff. It's interesting. Yeah. Oh, dang. My apology, guys. My apology. My bad. So yeah, you're experiencing different perspectives of the animals and stuff. It's different. It's cool. Like, what do you think about this game?
I was honestly very interested. Like, I didn't expect to. Like, when I first saw like the opening and the two girls looking at each other, I was like, I wasn't really crazy about how their art style looked, because they look kind of weird. We'll see. I guess because maybe their noses. I don't know what it is, but there was just something off-putting about their faces that bothered me at first. But yeah, as I watched the trailer more and more, and I saw the her going into different animals, and, like, this puzzle-looking kind of thing, I'm like, this looks like this could be a genuinely fun game.
Okay.
Like, it's gonna be a good time. Like, even though it's gonna be very, I'm sure, like, story-driven and everything like that, I think it's gonna have a lot of, and I don't know yet, right? But I think there's gonna be a lot of choice, as opposed to how you can handle things. I'm assuming with puzzles and exploration. I think it's gonna be a good time regardless. I hope it's not a $70 game, but
bro, you just painted the bad picture for Don. Now he cannot stop watching their noses.
Sorry, Don, but yeah, I mean, those noses, they look like pears.
I think they look like water drops. Yeah, but I mean, we gotta see. When is this game coming out? Not sure, but yeah, we gotta see where this game goes.
Credit scene here. This ain't no super duper hero movie.
I had no idea pricing and stuff, but it would have to have a lot of content in the game and be a very long game to be really worth that $70.
I don't know, bro. I don't know what to tell you. The other game that really, I'm not really a Gearbox fan when it comes to like Borderlands, but based on other people's reactions, they were like hyped for it. Are you into Borderlands, Dio?
I do. None of you guys will play it, so it's like, I can't really do really much. That's the thing. Like, Borderlands games are very good, but it's just like any kind of game that is like looter shooter. Like, if there's only so far you're gonna get, and then you get kind of bored because you have no one else to play with.
Exactly. That's why I stopped playing.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it.
Also.
Yeah,
they're really good games, and
Yeah.
this looks really interesting. I kind of wish it didn't have guns, though. To tell you the truth, I know that they're kind of making fun of the fact that it has guns and all that stuff in their trailer, but I kind of wish that they were a bit more. I don't want to say inventive or creative. I don't want to sound disrespectful. I just wish that they maybe found a way to have different kind of crossbows that had magical elements on them, or even like different magic spells. I know that it looks like they're gonna have spells and crossbows and stuff, but I think the fact that they're gonna have guns, it kind of ruins that immersion of the time period that the game takes place in. I'm personally gonna try to avoid using guns in the game, but I think overall, I mean, they have all those other things, so you don't have to play with guns. But yeah, the guns in itself, I'm not gonna play, but everything else looks pretty cool.
Have you beaten any of the Borderlands series?
No, I've always gotten like really far, and I get kind of burned out because I don't really have anyone to play with. They're good games. I guess what I also get kind of burned out with is their humor. It's not terrible, but it's also not great. And I just hate playing a game where everybody like every character has quips, right? And everyone has their one-liners, and everyone's clever. And I kind of feel like that's something that they do in a lot of these games.
During that ritual with the priest, they kept talking about a promise.
It was like they were drinking.
I don't know if this game is going to be the same way. I'm sure that's kind of like their humor, but I'm not really crazy about that kind of humor.
Guardians of the Galaxy. You came here seeking truth, a choice. The matriarch wishes to share it with you.
But I still think that it's gonna end up being like all those other games we talked about, like you play it once and you're done kind of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that, but honestly, if you're not I can't remember the name of their team, Guardians of the Galaxy. If you're not one of their kind of fans, I don't think it's gonna be a very interesting game to play. You know?
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I just don't. I think like Guardians of the Galaxy, I know it did well in movie theaters and everything, but I don't know. I think the game is gonna be. I don't know. It's better. It's definitely gonna be better than Avengers. The fact that they have it one player, it seems like they have more focus. But I think they could have still did a really good job with the Avengers as a looter. It's just that they failed in their execution. So I feel like them doing this is just a way to kind of like pander and cater to fans who are really extreme and like really like expressing the fact that the main reason Avengers was so bad is because of the fact that it was a looter shooter. It's like, no, it's not. That's not the reason. It's how they executed it.
Right.
And I think this is going to be easier to execute just because it's a single player game. Those are, in my opinion, easier to
balance everything. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's more focus.
Right.
I hope it does well. We'll get more Marvel games out of it, but like you said, you're burned out of Marvel anyway.
Bro. Anyways,
I've honestly not watched most of the movies, to tell you the truth, because I also feel the same way. Also, mostly because I feel like most Marvel movies don't stay true to the
like they're reinventing stuff, man. Like what was that one game? It wasn't. I think it was this one game. Something Knights, the new joint that's coming out. Where Wolverine is a part of it. Sun, you know what I'm talking about. It's like a multiplayer type joint.
Oh, I know you're talking. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be like a strategy-based RPG.
I was talking to my homie, and he was like, Wolverine should not be in there. I was like, okay, but it's just a game. Like, no, Wolverine should not be there. He's not an original. You know what I'm saying? Like he was ticked off, like to the max. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay, I'm talking to somebody who reads the comics. You know what I'm saying? And get into the lore, and then they see it kind of flipped for like gaming, and it's like, now he has to defend the lore to people who don't understand it.
But those Spider-Man movies that had what's that actor's name, McGuire?
Okay.
Like I wasn't really crazy about him, especially how they casted Venom with the guy from the '70s show actor for Venom. I was like, dude, Eddie Brock is a brolic dude. Like he's not some skinny, lanky, shaggy looking guy. So yeah, I have my own problems with Marvel and their casting and their how they've changed the lore. I know why it's so appeal to a wider audience. But I think at the same time you got to remember your original fans and realize for a lot of them, they read this growing up, right? This is what helped some of them get through a lot of hard times. So I think most people who read comics, especially as a kid, they start reading as a little kid, and it's kind of like a superficial thing at that point because you're reading it because like, oh, the good guy beats the bad guy, and as a teenager, it can be kind of influential, right? Like for kids who do have hard households that they live in, for it to be like, oh, when I grow up, I'm gonna try to be like this kind of, I'm gonna like personify this kind of hero. I'm gonna try to take on that aspect, and to see some of these heroes kind of warped and changed just so they can sell more tickets at the box office or more copies of video games, it is kind of disheartening.
Yeah. What's also disheartening is the nerve to show Rainbow Six Siege Extinction.
Yeah, that was. I don't know, man. Like, it's such a weird. I mean, we all got into that last time when we first saw it. It's just such a weird move. And
it's not a Sony or Xbox thing. It's a Ubi thing.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a Ubi thing. I'm like, why? Easily this could have gone to Division 2 and make sense.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But they're using this Rainbow Six Siege strategy and mechanics to implement this search, and you're finding the person who's been captured and taking them back, or whatever. And if you don't come back, that means what happens to the operator? The operator stays, and you got to find a new operator to go and get that operator that got left behind. That's what I got from the original trailer, and it just feels a little bit thrown together. You know what I'm saying? In hopes that it succeeds. Don CJG says, like I've said before, Ubi have lost vision of who they are. I don't think they lost who they are. I think when I look back at what they were doing, they made it big with Prince of Persia, right? Yeah. And then right after Prince of Persia, like Assassin's Creed was made off of Prince of Persia. And they've never moved from Assassin's Creed up until today. Sam Fisher, Splinter Cell, that could have been something, right? Both platforms. But it's almost like all their resources went into that. Like I'm still ticked off about Beyond Good and Evil. Like that looks way better than the Assassin's Creed to me. That looks way better than Rainbow Six Siege. I'm ready to get into that type of, immerse myself into that universe. And to hear that they're still trying to make decisions on whether or not that game is gonna exist. Let's not even talk about Skulls and Bones. That one has been delayed 5 times for the past 5+ years. I mean, bro. That game was supposed to be a DLC for Black Flag. It should have been a DLC. Black Flag probably would have still been played up until today. I would be playing that joint, trust me. So,
looking at this, right, like how you said the Division, it would make you wonder, right, if you look at a parallel universe, if we had that power to see where it goes, if Division was more successful than it is, would this have gone to that instead of Rainbow Six? You know what I mean? Because this really doesn't fit Rainbow Six at all.
It doesn't.
Like I remember that was the big argument for the Division, not to go with zombies or aliens or any stuff like that. Like that's not what Tom Clancy's about. Tom Clancy's about the realism and all this stuff. And it was like, okay, I get that, but you already kind of tarnished it with the whole people taking like 50 clips to the chest. So
I
if
mean,
you're gonna do that, go all the way with a completely different IP and to keep it there. So for them to put this out of nowhere, and I get it, like it was like a seasonal thing in the game, but
no, this is the actual game. This is not even seasonal. This is a game of its own. That's from what I
know it's a game
understand.
of its own, but if there was a seasonal thing that happened in Rainbow Six that got good, like people played it, and I don't know what metrics they took to say that it was successful, but they took that and ran with it to make this.
Bro,
And
I mean,
even that in itself is like, even if you were gonna do that, why would you make it a separate game as opposed to just a DLC or a game mode within Rainbow Six Siege? You know, there's just so many things wrong with this decision.
and you can tell, like with the Division, you know how you did play the Division, right?
Yeah, part 1, and I played the beta
of part 2. You remember how we went through the so one part would be we went through the sewers. Man, the sewers had so many different different areas. You know, it would have been perfect for like some form of mutation zombie type experience. I mean, just to get a chest, a golden chest or whatever chest, right? I mean, and then you had the survival mode. You know, Chain was so heavy on the survival mode, that would have been key there too.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I mean, but if that wasn't a mystery of its own, we got this last video, and I have no clue what this is about. And you know, it's the name of the trailer was called Kid Amnesia Exhibition, and it was a couple seconds. What the heck?
This is Radiohead. Yeah.
So what is that? Because I was wondering maybe if you heard about Radiohead. Like, what is that?
Yeah, Radiohead is a band, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of excited, but I am kind of confused too what this is. I'm wondering if this is gonna be like an interactive kind of like museum to listen to their music, or is this gonna be an actual game? Radiohead's a good band. You know, they definitely, for a lot of people, play on their feelings and their emotions when they listen to the music. So I would be interested to see if this is going to be an actual game or not. But I would imagine if it is a game, it would definitely probably play on, like it's like emotions and depression. Like, that seems to be a common theme in a lot of games that are coming out here and there. How, you know, depression and all those other conditions are faced by people. I am seeing a lot more of that in gaming for whatever reason. I guess because people are trying to use gaming as a way to I mean, they've always used gaming to express like some form of art, right? But I think they're trying to get deeper with the emotion side of it for people to see the simulation of it.
Don says, I imagine it as PT like demo.
I have a feeling too. Yeah, I kind of see it that way too.
The Fractured Minds.
Yeah, I don't expect there to be like a lot of gameplay itself, as opposed to just like, you know, experiences. You know, I would imagine if this came out, this would be like a huge thing for probably like PlayStation VR.
Probably.
Like, I can see it being really cool if they do it that way, especially if it's like PT or Fractured Minds with Radiohead music. It could be that could be a reason to buy PlayStation, it's PS5 in itself, for some people, honestly.
Right, walking sim type of deal. It could be. So yeah, that was the PlayStation showcase. The videos, the trailers that you saw were a part of that experience that PlayStation provided. So coming back, the other news that has, or rumors, Xbox is looking to create an Elite Series 3 So you might hear some news coming out sooner or later about that. Of course, we know about the theme console for Halo. For me, I would like to, when I glide my hands against the PlayStation, against the Xbox Series X, I want to feel the grooves. I don't want to feel plastic or like a tapered on graphic. I want to know that it's been stitched onto the actual console. Like it's like a car. When you see your car and it has all these different like grooves and indentions and things like that, you feel like, oh, this is premium. That's what I feel like when it comes to any console that has that's been customized. That's what I would want. Also, this past week, there's been a lot of rumors about Microsoft acquiring Take-Two. Not too sure about the details. I think there was also something that came across where Phil Spencer and Take-Two was sitting in a room or something. I don't know, having a discussion. That's something I want to hold, like keep to the bare minimum because Take-Two is huge. I don't know how they I mean, from a historical perspective, I think Bethesda has more weight than Take-Two in that, from a thought perspective, like me thinking about it, occult followings and stuff like that. I look at Take-Two like I look at Ubisoft, right? And that's gonna be an interesting take if Take-Two becomes a part of the family. And one of the things that was also discussed was how I think Xbox is pushing a new technology to where you can use your remote control to control the Xbox. Like your smart TV remote controller, you can use that to control the Xbox as well. So some form of update that's going to be happening. We got to look into that some more. But when two of my remote controls are dead and they're charging, trust me, I did reach over for my remote control. I'm like, man, I didn't pair nothing up. I didn't update my console. Is this thing even real? I haven't checked it out yet. So that's going to be something to really look into to see if that's even possible.
I mean, I know it's still speculative, but that Take-Two, if it became an acquisition, would be pretty big. I mean, you gotta remember, Take-Two owns Rockstar and 2K.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole lot of sports games. That's Grand Theft Auto, which is, I mean, behind Minecraft, probably the most sold game ever. I think the only game that sold more than it is Minecraft.
Now, if they were to buy Take-Two, I think they would still do the Minecraft thing. Like GTA.
Oh, for sure.
We're talking GTA, right?
Yeah.
And who else?
2K. So that's like all those sport games. That's Borderlands.
NBA 2K, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's a pretty big move if they actually did it.
That would be nonsense, honestly.
Yeah.
That would definitely be nonsense. But again, I can't get too hype about it.
So, yeah,
I'm not gonna go into a PlayStation forum and be like, 2K baby, 2K baby. Nah, son, I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people on the other consoles who enjoy sports, and while I would like to have exclusives, getting exclusives that way is not really key for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't play sports, so why should I be greedy about that? You know what I mean? So yeah, man. So, but the xCloud is still looking favorable. The Stream Deck, 2 months, hopefully. I'm excited for that.
There's actually people crying about how the Steam Deck won't play every Steam game. I mean, I don't understand why there's this many people upset about it, or even care. I mean, there's always gonna be complainers, but I think Steam has something like 13,000 different games, and to expect all of them to play on the Steam Deck like day one is just, I don't know. I think that's pretty unreasonable.
But from what I heard, and this was coming from the guys at Steam, who made the Steam Deck, like if your game does not play on the Steam Deck, then there's a bug. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how they're reflecting, because they're looking at it as like, if you can't play a game on Steam, if this game on Steam plays on your PC, it has to play on the Steam Deck. There is no ands if about it. Like, you know, the Steam Deck is a PC. They're not considering it a console. They're not looking at it like how people look at the Switch. It's not proprietary. It's open. So if it's open, let's say the game doesn't work, somebody will make it work. Trust me. So it's not, I don't think it's going to be that much of a big issue of games being played. I think it's going to be more of licensing situations. Like, people would probably like, hey, I don't want to play this we don't want to put our game on that for whatever reason, right? I think it'll be more of a license situation. But if it plays on Steam, it'll play on that. If it plays on xCloud, it'll play on that. So I think
I know another big complaint was also that the OS for the Steam Deck will be Linux, which obviously is not very user friendly for most people. But you could always put Microsoft Windows on it. So I still don't see the big complaint about it. I mean, you have the option to change it.
Right.
It's people complaining to complain, you know?
And it's touch. It's a touch screen.
Yeah.
Bro, like, imagine having your phone and then you're being able to touch to do stuff. I mean, yeah, it's running on Linux, but are you telling me that you as a consumer will go into the code, and because it's Linux code, you're not gonna get involved? Yeah. It's and then
you can still plug in a mouse and keyboard if you really wanted to. Also,
I mean, you can plug it into a monitor and get you plug it into a monitor and you get you get the PC experience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it supports dual booting. So just like Dio said. So it's, if you're worried about Linux, I don't think you should be worried about Linux unless you're like a software developer, programmer, coder, whatever, that wants to do something specifically to the actual Steam Deck. If you're a consumer who just wants to play a game like you played on PSP or Switch or Game Boy, like, you have nothing to worry about. You're basically having a handheld PC. That's how it's been marketed. That's how they built it. It's not proprietary. You could do whatever you want with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could buy a Kardashian app and that'd be your only game to play if you wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's there. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, you do what you want with it. So, you put Android on there. Now, I don't know why you would want to, but if you want to put Android on there to have the OS to play Android games on a Steam Deck, I'm sure that would be a possibility. Just got to find the right people. Yeah, man. That's it for me, though. You have anything else, Dio, before we call it a wrap?
Only real MMO news out there right now is that Elyon, the game that made by the same creators of Terra, was supposed to launch at the end of this month at the same time as New World, but they have chosen not to launch at the same time, which makes sense because you don't want to compete directly day on one against another heavy-hitting RPG, especially
made by Amazon.
Yeah, it makes sense. But they are also dropping their price, so that it will be a free-to-play game.
Were you looking forward to this game?
Not in particular. Not that I don't like Terra. I think Terra is actually a pretty decent game, honestly. It just doesn't have a player base. But I'm kind of expecting the same thing for this game, that because Terra is not popular, people are going to look at Elyon like, oh, I remember Terra. These are the same people who made that. I'm not going to play this.
Oh, wow.
But I do think that them taking the cover price off makes a lot of sense, because this is free to play in a lot of other, markets. So, like, for them to bring a price tag on it on the Western market just didn't really feel good.
Right.
So for them to make it free to play is cool. But in the end of the day, free to play games always have other things to make you want to pay for it. So you're going to pay it some way, somehow. And I think overall the game will do better because of free to play, but at the same time, it's going to suffer from what free to play games suffer from in most part. One of the best things that they decided to do since they dropped the cover tag was that anyone who did pre-order it will have a blanket like refund. Like, if you don't want it, you could get a refund and no ifs or ands or buts. Or you could choose to keep it, and they're upgrading the package deal to make it a better deal for you if you choose to keep it. So
That's cool.
either way, I think the customers will be pretty happy, depending on which way they decided to go.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, I think overall that's a really great way for them to handle it. I just hope that, like, let's say, because New World has been delayed quite a few times, what would happen if New World delayed themselves again? What would Elyon decide to do?
They might as well just stealth bomb, drop the game.
Yeah.
Like stealth drop the game. You know what I'm saying? Be like, we're here. You know what I'm saying?
I guess. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do, but
Yeah.
we'll see how this unfolds. I'm pretty sure New World's not gonna push it again. I mean, tomorrow is the last day of the open beta. So I guess maybe depending on feedback on that last open beta, there is a possibility they could delay it again, but I highly doubt it.
I think that's why that's why Lost Ark delayed the game, because of the feedback that came through. Got you. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Alright, so again, this is the Digital Cypha Podcast. We're here every weekend at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I believe that is 3 p.m., 3 or 5 p.m. British Standard Time. You know, I put both time in there, Don TJG, so you can't get mad at me. If you enjoy the show, definitely subscribe and like. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week. So until then, you guys have a safe weekend and enjoy gaming. Peace.
Thanks, guys.